Back in the 1990s, Zach Brown was a rising star in the world of road racing, both domestically and abroad. But at the turn of the century, Zach's racing was interrupted when he stopped to create a motorsports marketing company so successful that Brown has been described as a possible successor to the legendary Bernie Ecclestone. Now, just for the record, Zach is the first possible successor to Bernie Ecclestone that we've had the pleasure of interviewing here on Wind Tunnel. Zach Brown, welcome to the show. Nice to have you here tonight.
Great to be here.
Let me start with what you've done lately. You gave up driving when you realized you were really good at selling sponsorship, but not real good at selling sponsorship for Zach Brown because people wanted
someone more famous.
Someone more famous than Zach Brown. I'm guessing that was not an easy realization for you to accept, that you were a better salesman than race car driver.
Yeah, it was really difficult because I was really trying to get to Formula One and then to IndyCar, and everyone told me throughout my career, you know, you should really focus on the sales and marketing stuff. And I tried to do it for myself, and I was successful doing it for myself, but not enough to get the proper funding. And realized that indeed that was the case, and it turned out to be true, because as soon as I really stopped focusing on driving, business went through the roof.
And the good news is that you built this incredibly successful company. You've got investors now involved in it. You're still the CEO, but you've taken the opportunity, it appears to me, to use some of the benefits of that business to return to racing. So what were you doing this weekend?
This weekend I was running at Mont-Tremblant with Legends of Motorsports, which I'm partners with Bobby Rahal in. We've started a new historic series. So I was playing around in my Benetton. I brought out Stefan Johansson to shake it down. I'm not silly enough to try and do that by myself. So I drove that this morning, and then I raced my Porsche 962.
So that's business and pleasure. Is that thing working? That's into year 2 now with Rahal. What is it? What's the short version of what that weekend is about?
It's a kind of a professionally arranged, high-end historic racing where you come see the stars and cars at some of the greatest venues. And really everything I do is motor racing related, so they all kind of benefit each other. We had, sponsor prospects out today. We bring clients out, and then of course I love it. Now that I'm not trying to prove anything racing, I actually think I'm driving better today than I was when I was trying to get to Formula One.
And you're not just out there fooling around. I mean, I could win bar bets with this question. What do Arie Luyendyk, Johnny Herbert, Stefan Johansson, Mark Blundell, and Eddie Cheever have in common? The answer is they're your teammates next month when you go off to run the 24 Hours of Spa at the famed circuit that's been around since the 20s. Tell me about United Autosports. What's the deal?
So I started that with my partner Richard Dean, who's my longtime best buddy, and we're an Audi team. We're supported by Penske and amongst others, and so we race in the FIA GT3 Championship, and we're racing Spa. Last year we finished 3rd and 4th after leading. This year we did the 24 Hours of Daytona with Martin Brundle, Mark Blundell, and Mark Patterson. So I'm enjoying racing with these guys. They're my heroes growing up. That makes them feel old when I say that around them. But it's a great pleasure.
Well, I mean, to what extent? You're vintage racing one weekend, and then 30 days later, you've got a vintage driver lineup. I mean, how serious is that lineup of greats, admittedly from the past, going to be in terms of being contenders?
We led last year. We almost won it in the 21st hour. We were in the lead, and Eddie had a power steering problem that ultimately cost us the race. But I think you'll find these guys are as competitive as they have ever been. Blundell and Brundle at Daytona this year. We're swapping laps with Montoya, so they may be old, but they're not slow.
Let's get to this Bernie Ecclestone business. It's not like the story came from News of the World. It was the Guardian newspaper, the 180-year-old British newspaper, that did the feature on you this year at the 24 Hours of Daytona, and the headline read, "Is this failed Formula One driver the next Bernie Ecclestone?" I thought that was a little harsh, but I could ask the question in 2 words. Are you?
No, I'm CEO of JMI. It's funny, my kid McGuire, he's like, "Dad, I want to be CEO of JMI." So I think he might be behind pushing me out. No, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. It's a huge, very flattering to be mentioned in the same sentence. I know Bernie very well. I do a ton of business in Formula One with JMI. And, never say never, but I'm happy doing what I'm doing now.
The reality is the guy's almost 80 years old, and there's no public awareness where none of us have been told, not that it's our business, what the line of succession is. What do you know about that?
Pretty much what everyone else knows, which is not much. I believe CVC, who owns Formula One, has to have a succession plan. They have to. My private equity group, Spire Capital, they have to have a plan. They owe that to their limited partners. So I suspect CVC has something up their sleeve if Bernie got hit by a bus or got mugged again, and they're just kind of keeping that and keeping their options open.
Have you filled out an employment application with them or anything like that?
I'm working on my CV now.
That's not the way that works at that level of the business. I need a commercial break. We'll come back. We'll talk about NASCAR marketing and a whole lot of other aspects of the motorsports marketing world in which this man is something of an expert. The fun doesn't stop just because the TV show is over. Join us at 10 o'clock Eastern Time on the internet, speed.com. We've got live streaming video, another half hour of bench racing. Right now we're talking NASCAR with Zak Brown. The Just Marketing website says the average NASCAR fan is 37 years old. It's about 10 years younger than what I would have predicted. It's younger, in fact, than the average IndyCar or ALMS fan, and the same age as the average Formula One fan. I bring that up in the context of Red Bull ending their ownership relationship in the series. Perhaps we thought because the demographic fit wasn't quite right, they're spending multiples of that in Formula One for the same age group. What am I missing here?
I think that report is incorrect as to the reason why they got out of the sport. I read that. NASCAR, demographics, psychographics, IndyCar, they're all have not moved much over time, right? Everyone's trying to get younger audiences,
sure.
But you know what you're getting into. I think Red Bull left because they weren't competitive. And, they're losing Casey Kane to Hendrick and the Farmers team, and I think at the end of the day, they just weren't competitive, and that's why they pulled out.
There are a lot of big sponsors who have not been competitive for a very long time, and they hang in there, and they continue to sell their products. In your mind, what is the connection between competitiveness on the track and competitiveness in the marketplace selling the product?
I think the two go hand in hand. You don't get into the sport and not want to win. So, only one guy wins a weekend. And so you need to be at the front of the field. And it is tough on sponsors. They understand you can have bad races, bad seasons. But if that kind of builds up over the period of time, I think Red Bull won one race.
Mm-hmm.
But that's certainly, when they're winning the championship and killing everyone in Formula One, are pretty close to. Clearly they're not in this to win one race every 3-4 years. So
gotcha.
it does wear them out.
Your company brought Crown Royal into the sport, first NASCAR liquor sponsorship ever. Now they're leaving. Why?
Well, actually, they're not leaving. They're going to stick around with their race entitlement, the Your Name Here race that they've done. So there's been reports as well that they're leaving. What they are doing is leaving Roush Racing. And, all these companies, they've been in the sport for 7 years, and NASCAR's been fantastic for them. And they're sticking around. They're just recalibrating what they're doing. And companies do that, especially as the world changes as it is.
UPS is one of your clients. When they came in, it was rumored to be the richest sponsorship in the sport. You said on this show, the last time we talked, they were looking for a rock star kind of driver. I don't know if David Ragan fits that description, but now he's won a race. Their deal, we understand, is up at the end of the year. Is there anything you can tell us about how that might go forward with Ragan, without Ragan? What's the situation there?
Yeah, clearly we wanted him to win more races than he did. Very happy that he did. He had a chance to win the Daytona 500, so he's clearly hooked up around there. UPS is committed to the sport. They've been in for 12 years now. They generate a lot of business out of the sport and and in the sport from the industry. So they're in discussions right now, reviewing what to do. And then really Ragan's future is as much in Roush's hands because he's in a contract year, and kind of need to wait and see what happens there.
We've gone from $20 million primary sponsorships in NASCAR to this widespread situation in which top teams have to field a variety of sponsors, different paint job, not every week. That would be an exaggeration, but you
not
get
on
the
some
point.
cars.
Yeah. Is that a temporary situation brought on by the economy, and has that situation bottomed out?
I think it has bottomed out, for starters. I think now NASCAR is a great buy because it still puts up fantastic numbers. But I do think these multiple paint schemes and multiple companies is the future. And I think that was actually starting to happen even before the economic downturn. And now the challenge is, with more sponsors out there, you've got to be a better marketer, which keeps me in business, to help these companies, because there's more clutter out there, and that's only a bad thing if you're a Me Too or an average marketer.
Gotcha. Big picture question. With all the challenges facing racing, the current economy being one of them, are you optimistic or pessimistic about the sport's future, and why?
I'm very optimistic about the sport's future. I think hit the bottom. So, I think the only good times ahead of us, if you look at NASCAR, its TV ratings are doing good. They've made great changes in the organization. So it's on its way. I think IndyCar continues to put full grids out. Randy's done a very good job. This World Endurance Championship over in that's based around Le Mans, which is now going to be global. I think you're going to see a lot of manufacturers get involved there. So as you look around in Formula One, TV ratings through the roof, 5 world champions on the grid, new markets. Now we're going to India. So in general, I'm very bullish.
Good luck with the next album. No, I'm very good luck at Spa in less than 30 days now.
Less than 30 days.
United Autosports. Thanks for the time and continued success to you.
Thank you very much for having me on.
That's Zak Brown, ladies and gentlemen.